Hi, Dana here from THRiiiVE.com, cornering Scott Forsgren again at the LEAFoundation.org. That's Lyme-Induced Autism Foundation Conference, which I think you would agree is simply the most cutting-edge conference around these days.
By far my favorite of the year. Absolutely.
Okay. And so last year I put him on the spot. He had no idea it was coming, and I put a camera in his face and said, okay, tell me, what's the top 3 things you learned?
And I totally messed it up the first time we had to do it again. So you guys saw the second version of that.
So this time he only has a few notes in front of him, and he's at betterhealthguy.com. And if I were to try to point people to the site that has the cutting edge, this is it. I mean, it's almost like we're opposite in a way. Like, do you know what I mean?
But the pieces of the puzzle fit together very nicely.
Absolutely. So. Like, I used, in the beginning, I did more of, like, the cutting-edge stuff, and then
I send lots of people to your site as well.
And
it's very well organized, the whole top 10 that you have, all that stuff.
Thank you, which, of course, you've probably done all that top 10, or most of it.
That and more, yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to increase that. Okay, now the intro's way longer than I ever let it be.
The top 463.
Exactly, which it really is if you count. Okay, so let's go over the top 3 takeaways from the LEA conference. Okay. Not to minimize that there was probably thousands, but...
So I'll stick to a few.
Okay.
So one of the things that I took away from this conference is that there really are lots of options that are emerging, many more in the past year or 2 than what I felt like in the past 5 years or so in the treatment of Lyme and autism. I think people have heard me talk before that I really think there's so many similarities that I don't say, these are Lyme treatments and these are autism treatments, because we all need to be working on microbes and toxicity and emotional conflicts and traumas and all that stuff. But some new products that I saw here that I thought were great, THRiiiVE, he's got his whole clinical response line with the BLT and the Crypto Plus. It's been around for a while, but I think people are just starting to hear about it. There's a new line coming out from BioResource, which Byron White has put together. He's an energetic practitioner that works in California, and so he's got his line of, Bartonella, Babesia, Borrelia blends that people have had great results with that previously were only available to patients of the clinic where he worked. And so that's coming out through BioResource in the next couple months.
Okay, now pause. You just gave 2 resources without websites. What's the first website?
I think Clinical Response Formulas is Todd Thoring's product, the BLT and the Crypto Plus. So if they just Google Clinical Response Formulas. I don't know that there's a website yet for Byron stuff, but BioResource is the company. They're the same people that have the Pecana products.
Okay.
And so if people just Google BioResource and Pecana, they'll start seeing information there on the BioResource site.
And find a place to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Another product line that I thought was very interesting was one from Healthy Directions, and Steve Harris mentioned that they have products like BB1, BAR1, BAB1, and so they're very targeted formulas that were put together by a practitioner in Northern California named Susan McCamish, and she's been having really great results. Steve Harris mentioned the BAR1 blend as being very, very powerful, and so I think
is that like Bartonella one? Is that what that is?
It is potentially helpful for people with Bartonella, and I've heard stories of people having things come out through their skin, and very, very powerful things happening on these formulas. So certainly, I think people should be working with their practitioners. I don't advocate people just start buying all these products and throwing it into the mix. They need to do it in a very conscious way, working with their doctors. But I like seeing that there are new options for people that have done it all, tried it all. There's lots of good stuff coming. I was also very interested in the new galactose product that Dr. Klinghardt talked about. One of the issues that many of us with Lyme and autism have is high ammonia levels. That's always an issue. There haven't always been lots of good options. And so the galactose, which is a monosaccharide sugar, I believe, helps to bring down the ammonia as well as a whole host of other things that it does. So I think that's a really good thing.
If they look for that, it's D-galactose.
Yeah, and it's available through BioPure on biopureus.com is the website for that one.
Thank you.
Michael Payne was here. He's pretty well known to a lot of the autism and Lyme folks. He does the Zyto energetic scans. He's got some really innovative, great ideas. I mean, the guy, when I talk to him, it's just like, a lot of it just goes, whoo! He's looking at cytokines and all kinds of stuff and using Zyto to figure out what he calls the brain-gut connection. So lots of other people are looking at the gut-brain connection, and he's kind of thinking at things in the opposite way, the brain-gut connection, which is really quite interesting. Dietrich Klinghardt, he did his talk this morning, and for me, it's always the one. I mean, my whole life path and journey is forever changed by Dietrich Klinghardt. He will always be my favorite mentor and listening to him doing his 2 talks was just fantastic. The 2 takeaways, someone asked the question, what are they said, what was the most important thing that someone should do? And his comment was hydrating, clean, pure water. And so he had a recipe that he's put together where you've got, reverse osmosis filtered water, and you put in the electrolytes, and you put in the minerals and all of that. And he just was really talking a lot about how critical it is that we get that fluoride-free, hydrating water that's really going to help hydrate the cells and cause all of these enzyme systems to work in the body, support the kidneys and all of those things. So I thought that was really good.
And we'll type up that recipe and put a link to it on the video here.
Yeah. And then the second thing that he mentioned was this lime cocktail. And so he's been working on taking multiple different kinds of compounds and putting them into a blender with the phospholipid exchange to kind of create a liposomal product that gets much better taken up by the body. So he's putting things in like artemisinin, neem, which are great antimicrobial compounds, the microsilica for detox. There's a number of different things. The quintessence also for supporting, the Booner kind of herbs for supporting the microbes related to Lyme disease, and putting those in a blender with the phospholipids so that they get taken up much better in the body. And he said that right now that's really his kind of entire cocktail for microbe and toxicity management. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really an exciting thing to see as well, that it's getting much simpler, that all of these things are kind of put into this one cocktail that the person drinks. I think people need to, again, work with their practitioners. It's a very powerful cocktail, and I think people just mixing it up themselves and taking it without a practitioner, it could be too much for a lot of people. Dosages may need to be adjusted and such, but he's got some great ideas. And
Michael Payne, just to go back for someone who's going, Michael Payne, where do I find him?
StartLivingWellToday.com, I believe is his website.
But you can't, I'm not even going to load this video till we've signed up with him, because he's my takeaway.
Yeah.
It's like, I've heard about him for years and years. And
I've worked with him for about 3 years. I worked with him several years ago when I did the Amy Asco work.
Right.
Because I wasn't totally comfortable with the interpretation I had gotten from another practitioner, and so I wanted to work with him to kind of validate.
Right.
He was phenomenal with that at the time, but he's come even so much further at this point. So I have worked with him doing Zyto stuff for about the last year as well, and he's really come up with some good ideas. Very sharp guy. And the last thing I would say is, if you look at the Klinghardt axiom, and again, I always come back to THRiiiVE's work because it's really shaped me more than anything along this path. He talks about how you can't just bring down the toxins, you can't just bring down the microbes, but you have to work on these emotional conflicts and traumas, and do you deserve to be well? Are there self-worth and value issues? Are there issues in your family system and all those kinds of things? And so there was a talk here that was given by Dr. Jorge Moreno.
Which is drjnla.com.
drjnla.com. And Gilbert
Renault, who's Recall Healing.
Recall Healing, exactly. And so the Recall Healing was quite interesting. And so one of the things they said there was that people with Lyme, their conflict is, I do not have a clan. And so I thought that was interesting, that they don't feel a connectedness to their people. And so, though I would now like to pursue a little bit of recall healing work myself, just to see what else that can kind of uncover, what I really kind of took away from that is one of the great things about conferences like the one that Tammy Duncan puts on here from Leah Foundation, leahfoundation.com, the kind of things that we're doing here is, we do have a clan, and all of us coming together, working together, moving through this journey, it's very, very powerful, and I think that we will find all of our paths to better health. So, fantastic event. I'm very sad to leave now. But,
I even invited him out to the ranch to see what we're doing out there, and he can't come. So, Scott, we're at 9 minutes, so that's perfect.
Thanks, Dana.
Scott is betterhealthguy.com. Thanks.